It's the real word. It's the real word. It's the real word. It's the real word.
We on a mission and that's bringing y'all the truth. You know the problem, but we get into the root. The devil watching, yeah, he always on pursuit. But Jesus is our rock, so we shall not be moved. We on a winning team, so we can't lose. We say facts, cause we hitting y'all with proof. Started from the bottom, now we standing on the roof. As God as our witness, we gon' make it to the moon. When you want the truth, the world be hiding it. This the real word, we providing it. We got Ace, BK, Truth, Rick Star, and we plan to make a movie like it's Pixar. We came a long way from the plantation. We just tryna save your souls from damnation. So if you down with the message, tune in every week. It will lead you to the message that you seek.
It's the real word. It's the real word. It's the real word. It's the real word.
Word Season 8, Episode 18. Shout out to everybody that's been watching. Shout out to everybody that's helped us to get this far so far. Shout out to everybody that has been supporting us. Shout out to everybody that has donated to all the things that we've done this year. Shout out to everybody that watched our last episode. We was live from Times Square, Manhattan.
You know, that's why I had my feet up just now. I was just saying.
Yeah, man, we done leveled up on y'all. We had to move bougie.
You know, I got new friends now.
Alright, yep, we moving up. So, shout out to everybody that's been watching. Shout out to everybody that follow us on Facebook. That's www.facebook.com/therealwordtv. That's the Real Word 7 like Mike Vick on Facebook, or the Real Word Ministries Inc. on Facebook to find us. You can also catch us on Instagram at the Real Word Ministries Inc. on Instagram. That's at the Real Word Ministries Inc. on Instagram. Also on YouTube, the Real Word TV on YouTube as one word. The Real Word TV on YouTube as one word. And also catch us on podcasts. Everywhere you can find podcasts. That's Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Spotify, and Soundcloud. We're also on the Brick Network every Tuesday and Thursday at 12, at 1, and at 4 p.m. So shout out to y'all. I'm here with my partner. Introduce yourself.
Hey man, it's your man BK Truth out here representing Brooklyn the truest way I know how. I was gonna say, y'all gotta get on YouTube, man. Y'all gotta be able to see all these links on YouTube. He's all over, man. I mean, I'm all over in there too, but you know.
We all over together.
But this is why we linked, man. Since this is bloodline right here, in some way, shape, or form.
Facts. And speaking of linking up all over, we have our friend all the way from Canada on the episode today, episode 18. Introduce yourself.
I'm Matthew Dickson of MindAid.ca. I'm in Eastern Canada, and I help people with mental illness in developing countries get access to basic mental health care. And I've got schizophrenia myself, so I've been through mental illness. I'm doing well now, and I'm trying to help other people with schizophrenia too.
What is schizophrenia for the young people?
Yeah, tell us.
Yeah, so I got diagnosed at 22. Schizophrenia, it can often hit guys in their late teens or early 20s, which is true for me. In women, it can hit later, sort of late 20s, but it's not set in stone. You can get a girl who gets it at like 12 or something. So it hit me. 1% of the population is schizophrenia. And, most people think of like hallucinations with schizophrenia. There are, 75% of people do hallucinate with the disease, but I was in the 25% that didn't, so I was lucky for that. And I had no problems with substance abuse. That really helped me. I was really thankful for that. And I got on a medication with schizophrenia because it's often quite severe. They do recommend medication. And I got on the drug back in 1994 when I first got diagnosed. I'm 50 now, so that's a long time ago. But it helped me. I noticed an improvement in my health every single week for 20 plus years. And I'm still on the same drug. I'm doing well now. February 11th of 2021, my symptoms stopped. They just stopped one day. And it's the last year and a half, I've been in a state of sort of shock or processing. It's sort of like analyzing a sports game afterwards, watching the footage, trying to think, wow, what happened? Did I just go through that for 20 plus years? I've got time to think and pause and reflect, look back on my life, and I've got times of peace and contentment. I'm in the normal range of emotions again. people say, "Well, are you cured?" And I'm not cured. I still take the medication. I do not want to go off it. And
you saying you hallucinate?
Like, what are some of your symptoms?
What are the symptoms? I'm sorry, if you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, so I never hallucinated. I was very thankful for that. I had disorganized thinking. It was hard to think about things that weren't there. Like, it was hard to, people say intangible thought goes with the disease. It was hard to think about concepts or generalizations. And it felt like my thoughts were going a million miles a minute. It felt like I was watching TV, like my daily life was like watching TV, where you can't jump through the screen and interact with the people there. I felt very disconnected. Motivation levels were really low. It was so hard to do everything. They say with the disease, it's difficult to self-direct, let alone other direct. It was really hard to plan my day. Structure was very important for me. A lady saw me at my worst in 1994, and she said that I looked like I was walking through a world of flying glass. And I'm like, yeah, that's how it felt. Some people with schizophrenia, they may actually believe that the CIA is spying on them through their phone and stuff like that, sort of paranoid stuff. I was never like that. I will say that if I saw a TV, it did feel like it was talking to me, or that there was someone actually in the room. Or if I saw a movie, I remember seeing a James Bond movie in the 90s, and it felt like it was actually like happening in the theater. But I knew the person wasn't speaking to me through the TV. I knew James Bond wasn't actually in the theater. I knew cars weren't crashing through the walls. It just felt like it. It just really was very real. It's kind of like a nightmare in your daily life, like that. If you wake up in the middle of the night from a nightmare, and that creepy feeling is still with you. For me, I try not to fall back asleep right away because I'm scared of going back into the nightmare. It's sort of like that creepy feeling is with you all day long, even like on a nice sunshiny day.
Mm. So, what made you come on this platform to speak about that in general? Like, what attracted you to us to speak on that subject?
So, you're doing a lot of great work with people who need help, impoverished and homelessness and whatnot.
This is true.
Yeah, so I was never homeless myself. I was very thankful for that. But a lot of people who have mental illness are homeless, and it's a huge topic. Just to skip ahead for a sec, one of the groups that I help tell people about is Strong Minds, strongminds.org. Mm-hmm. They help.
Is he religious? Sorry,
What's that?
I was wondering, are you religious?
No, I'm not a Christian. I have taken Christian courses and learned about Christianity. I'm not a Christian myself, but yeah.
It's okay. You can finish what you were saying earlier.
Okay. So Strong Minds, they help women with depression in Africa, and they've recently started Strong Minds America, and they're working in New Jersey. And they use these models of basic mental health care in poor areas in New Jersey, and they want to expand to other parts of America. There's a guy from Harvard, his name is Shekhar Saxena. He's the UN, and he said that every country, when it comes to mental health care, is a developing country. And it's so there's parts of America that are classified as a developing country's mental health care system. Strong Minds America is helping to change that, and I'm trying to help promote their work. It's these models of basic mental health care are low cost, proven effective, and scalable, and the World Health Organization is trying to figure out the best way to roll them out to the masses. But like Shekhar Saxena says, all these developed countries, they all have elements of a developing country's mental health care system, and these models could help. Basic Needs US, another group that I promote on my website. They did a pilot project with these models of basic mental health care in a rural indigenous area in New Mexico and also an urban Detroit one, and they got good results.
You want to hear something crazy, and I'll bring it all full circle. I actually work at a mental health facility, a mental health shelter, and we do see a lot of patients with schizophrenia, paranoid schizophrenia, bipolar schizophrenia, Strong Minds, nice. Yeah. So I actually have a master's in social work from Fordham University with a clinical concentration, and I do provide psychotherapy to individuals through corrective thinking by applying CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. I don't use drugs. I use psychotherapy, talk therapy. And
you said this is more spiritual?
Okay, I'll say this based on what schizophrenic. I personally alone probably know over, I'll say, 400 or 500 people with mental illness just off the bat. I've worked in 3 mental health shelters total, and each had a population of at least 200 people. So not saying I knew everyone in there, but I probably came across a good amount. So I can say, I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but I have some kind of experience. So I can say when working with the men are more aggressive, and the trauma that causes it, because a lot of the time it's linked to a trauma, and we say it's between the age of 12 to 24, because that's when a boy is developing and he knows about the world around him.
He's going out on his own.
And he's experiencing trauma, and he doesn't know what's reality and what's a disillusion, and then it fucks with him. We want to put it
in the wrong story.
Very simple. And
wrong story.
And you ever heard of stop daydreaming all day, wake up? Yeah. But some people is like, one thing I know about the mental health shelter, they'll stay in the facility all day long, and in their mind it's almost like they're in prison, but in their mind everything is here. We have food, we have shelter, we could get high. So if we get hungry, we could just go downstairs to the cafeteria. If we want to get high, we just go outside, and if you need to sleep, go back upstairs, and that's basically it. And it's like the government gives them SSI, SSD, depending on their disability, because you can actually petition to Social Security disability and get disability. So, and if you approve, you don't have to work. You get a check every month. Or depending on if you had long-term disability from when you was a child, and then now your parents gets it because they're your guardian up until you reach a certain age.
Mental too.
Yeah. So all of that is connected. So, to hear you say it, and it goes back to what I was saying to make my point. The men, they experience some kind of trauma from the age of 12 to 24. Majority of the time, the ones I deal with, because I deal with people living under the 200% poverty level, because there's 2 sides to it. Is the people that receive social services, which is the poor, the living under 200%, the welfare, the people that the programs take care of, and then there's the rich, the ones that have the private insurance that could afford going to a private therapist for an hour a week and paying $100 to $140, $200 an hour.
Advantage.
Because that's how much it costs, to be honest with you. But when you do the psychosocials and you psychiatrically evaluate these people and they tell you about their lives and what happened, you find the trauma that sparked, that created the chemical imbalance in the brain. Either they had a tumor in the brain that caused them to think a certain way, but just because one part of the brain is not functioning in a certain capacity doesn't mean the other part is not. And the perfect example of a movie that I watched while I was in grad school was The Perfect Mind with Russell Crowe, and he has schizophrenia, but he had like the illusions, and he's seeing illusions. And for his entire time while he was when he was a chair professor, I think at Princeton, at Ivy League school, and he was a Nobel Peace Prize winner, and the whole entire time he suffered from schizophrenia and didn't know until, because he thought he saw a friend that had a niece, and years went by, his wife left him, other things happened, other stuff happened, and the girl stayed the same age, and one day he was like, "You're not real, you've been the same age the entire time, I lived my whole entire life." And then he was like, "Wow, I am messed up," because he thought it was an FBI agent that was telling him come and get letters out the mail all the time and this and that. It was all an illusion, but he was still able to function within this reality and this matrix. So he was just walking around.
Still imagining.
And majority of the people I know that I work with to balance out that chemical imbalance, they abuse other chemicals, as in drugs. So it's either you get on illegal drugs or illegal drugs to find some kind of balance.
I don't know.
What do you think?
I was gonna ask you, do you drink?
Me? No. I've never drank or taken any drugs, smoked or anything. Yeah.
But you're more so on prescription drugs, you're saying?
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm on medication, one drug that I take once a night, and I've been on that since '94. So,
Everybody.
So that's a very long time.
oh yeah, I know, a long time now. I'm 50 now, so it's like, what, 26 years?
So in a
Yeah,
sense,
28 years. 28 years.
so in a sense, if you to break that down to the smallest grain, you have a chemical dependency too on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like your body depends on it.
You have well, not to get too personal, you don't have to answer, but you have a family and like children?
No, I'm not married, no kids. My family, my parents, brother, and sister, they've all been very good to me and support me, and friends have been good. I was pretty lucky. I never got bullied throughout my recovery. It was
Wonderful. That's peaceful.
quite thankful for that.
Yeah.
You grew up in Canada or in the United States?
I'm in Canada, on the east coast of Canada. Yeah, that's where I stayed my whole life.
So they're more nicer.
Yeah, they don't get.
than America.
Sounds nice.
Do you know Americans make fun of Canadians and their urban culture?
One of the favorite shows, How I Met Your Mother, makes fun of Canada also.
Do you know that? Like American TV makes fun of Canada and Canadians?
Yeah.
How do the Canadians feel about that? Do you guys make fun of Americans?
Do y'all make fun of?
I think we both make fun of each other.
He gave the political answer. Because like we make fun of each other.
I wasn't partaking in these.
I will say this: someone I know, they did a tour, a bus tour into the States, and they said, "Wow, the Americans are so friendly, like friendlier than Canadians. We kind of stick to ourselves sometimes. The Americans were just like, oh hey, how are you? Come on over." And it was they were very very impressed with that. Like, thanks. It was very welcome.
We got a good reputation out there.
Well, some parts of America. Other parts are not so welcoming, I'll tell you that.
In Brooklyn, that's where we from, so they don't got that same vibes.
Some places, it depends. I mean, energy...
It changed.
Yeah,
it's changed over,
depends.
definitely.
It depends.
Places I didn't feel, so welcome. I feel welcome now.
So you're saying people openly speak about mental health in Canada, like they're more comfortable with talking about it?
Well, it didn't used to be that way, but it has been changing. We've got a telephone company here. I don't know if you have it here in the States. It's called Bell, like Alexander Graham Bell, who created the telephone.
Yeah.
The Bell company, they started in 2010. It was called Bell Let's Talk. And it was a campaign one day a year to talk about mental health and funds. And it was the first time that it was a national sort of thing of getting people to talk about mental health. And that started here in Canada to really talk more about mental health. And it grew more and more year by year. Other people started talking more and more about mental health. And when the COVID hit, we started talking, like many countries, about mental health a lot. There are some mental illnesses that aren't talked about as much as they should, even though COVID has happened. Schizophrenia is one of them. I do feel more comfortable talking about schizophrenia in public. You can say a lot online about schizophrenia, but in public, it's excuse me. I still I'm cautious of who's around when I say the word schizophrenia. I shouldn't be, but it's just the way things are still. But I want that to change, and I'm hoping things will. Things just keep changing and improving in terms of our attitudes and respect towards other people. So there's hope for the future for sure.
So take us through your life, right? Because you said you've been dealing with this for a very long time. How did you live your life while dealing with this mental illness at the same time?
Yeah, so for people first diagnosed going through it, I know for me it was very difficult to do anything. It was really tough. But for me, and I think for a lot of other people, if you get treatment, that can help bring the pain down. It may not cure you overnight, But when the pain lessens more, you're able to do more stuff. And yeah, you may still not feel the best, but you can get up. The current job, after 3-4 years of recovery, I was able to get a job, and I held down that job for 20 plus years. And I bought a number of cars over the years. I owned a home for quite a while, and I did stuff. And yeah,
what type of job was it?
I did it anyway. And I got an engineering degree before I got too sick with the disease. That's what I was taking in university. But I was only half-hearted about it. I got into it, but halfway through I just finished it for something.
It didn't stop your education. It stopped more of your like life planning. You're saying.
Yeah.
More of a social thing, you would say?
Yeah, it was difficult to socialize for sure. I had to read a lot of books on how to get better. So yeah. The job I got was data entry and filing. It's not really my kind of thing, but it was one of the few jobs I thought I might actually be able to do. So I did that for a long time with my disease. And
if the Zoom cuts off, it's gonna cut off in about 9 minutes and 40 seconds. I'm just gonna reopen the page right after, right? Don't worry about it. And rejoin because it's only 40-minute intervals.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going on for an hour.
Yeah. So go ahead.
So I did data entry and filing for a while. I will say that in the middle of university, I bicycled across Canada, and I wanted to do a lot more fun stuff like that, but my disease took me on a whole different path. So it's travel and the outdoors and adventure are something I really enjoy, and I've missed a lot through my recovery. But
I see you put on. Which I wanted to ask about the travel. Did you go to Africa? How many?
No, I've never. With my disease, it was difficult to travel in my recovery, so I stayed mostly on the East Coast here throughout my recovery. I have been out to Vancouver and other places in Canada when I was sick with my disease, but to go to some other countries, even like to go into the States or Europe, those were too much for me. And today I might be able to handle it.
What would happen? Why was it too much?
What would happen to you?
Well, it's like, for me, with the disease, everything just becomes complicated. It's like, if something happens to me, just simple everyday things were so difficult. Like, things most people just take for granted and can do without even thinking. I had to put a lot of thought into it. And say if something goes wrong, it's just the fear of the unknown. Like, if something goes wrong, if I'm in Europe or something, or Africa, what would happen? Who would I go for help? And it's
you panic.
It really scared me.
Panic. Yeah.
I mean, it scared me even to just go for an hour drive in my own province here. It was, but I did it anyway. But it was, I had to put thought into that. I didn't just run things off like it was nothing. It was, it was a really big deal to fly out to Vancouver when I was.
So I would say like committing and getting married would be
out of the question.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm happy you're doing better.
You ever had a girl try to pressure you into a relationship?
No, I haven't.
Oh man.
They do that a lot.
There's no ratchet chicks, I guess. We have something, where the behavior is very, aggressive.
Yeah, the women out here is aggressive.
Yeah. I think they can definitely use a pill.
Do you like women? Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we get personal. We get real.
Yeah.
Nowadays you have to ask for sure.
So what do you do about that situation in Canada? Because
do about what situation?
The situation with the women, like, how's that situation with the women in Canada?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I'm really an expert on that. It's yeah.
I'm about to ask you a biblical question. Are you a virgin?
I won't get into that. Sorry.
Why you asked him that question for, man? What's wrong with you? Are you a virgin?
I got a child. No, I'm not a virgin. But I do things in a virgin way,
What, culadas?
H2O. Look at
Water?
that. You know, that's the balance.
I will say there's a lady with schizophrenia. She's in Alberta, Canada, and she's got a YouTube channel called Living Well with Schizophrenia.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes into a lot of that stuff, like dating for schizophrenia or relationships. She just recently had a baby with her partner, and she's in her 30s, and I'm really impressed with her YouTube channel. And I try to tell people about it. She's got a ton of content all about schizophrenia and all different, many different aspects of it. She's been.
Give her
really
you know the
impressed with
YouTube.
that,
You could give her a shout out.
Yeah.
You know the YouTube. You could give her a shout out. What's the YouTube?
So people could check it out.
Yeah, it's called Living Well with Schizophrenia. With civil engineer, they build bridges, roads, highways, sort of infrastructure of cities.
They're architects in a sense. They're kind of like the
okay, kind of like that. Architects are more like sort of homes or houses or unique buildings, I guess.
Yeah, I was thinking more of the sketching.
There's definitely not. What's that?
I was thinking the sketching. This like they kind of design. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's tons of drawings and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
The architect draws it and the engineer brings it to life.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Because the engineer has to apply the math to
the civil
to
engineer.
make it make sense.
Okay.
So how come you practice data entry instead of the civil engineering then?
Well, I was sick with schizophrenia, and that's about all I could feel I could handle at the time. I didn't want to practice engineering; it was too complicated when I was sick. It was your intelligence levels goes down with schizophrenia, at least for me. And I know the movie you're talking about, the mathematician there, the Beautiful Mind. He couldn't do the math that he used to with his Nobel Prize. He couldn't do that when he got sick with schizophrenia either. But
yes, and you said you caught it. It wasn't all your life, you said. When did you catch it? I'm sorry, I might have forgot.
It came on a little through university, but it hit really hard at 22. That's when I first got it, for sure.
Okay.
So, yeah.
What exactly was happening around that time?
Like just in my, other than schizophrenia in my life, you mean? Or like what was happening with the disease itself?
No. What was happening in your life to trigger it at that time?
Not a lot of bad stuff, to be honest. I didn't really have much to be depressed or upset about. Really, it just kind of came out of nowhere. And yeah, it's, they say a stressful event can trigger the disease, even though you may be predisposed to get it. It's, it
just popped up.
Does it run in your family?
Well, there's not much mental illness in my family at all, not schizophrenia, but we have found one relative we didn't even know existed on our family tree somewhere back in the early 1900s who did have schizophrenia. But other than that, it's kind of came out of nowhere. So
sometimes they say that an event in your life could trigger psychosis, and sometimes even drugs could trigger psychosis, and then prolonged psychosis usually develops into schizophrenia. Also, the depression, like you could get depressive disorder to the point where you don't want to do anything. You have depressive moods. You have a hard time adjusting to other people. Adjustment disorder. There's mood disorder, adjustment disorder.
All these disorders.
Yeah, it's a whole book, the DSM-5, where you could diagnose somebody. And just because you were initially diagnosed, it doesn't mean that it was a misdiagnosis, and it doesn't mean that your diagnosis can change at any time. So somebody, like, technically, if you come see me as a doctor by the second visit, I have to diagnose you in order to charge your insurance.
Really? I did not know that.
I can't charge insurance without diagnosing somebody. And I could misdiagnose. And then seeing him, like, maybe, like, let's just say 3 months down the line, I go, wait, I don't think you have schizophrenia. I think it was just prolonged depression or depressive mood disorder or adjustment disorder. But then imagine if you didn't see me for that long and you just went with the initial.
Update it. Yeah.
Yeah, you would just go with the initial diagnoses and then you would just become that.
That's so wicked. Well,
some people don't want to be labeled. They're like, I don't want to be labeled anything because then people gonna treat me different. They're gonna think I'm special.
put me
Or they're
in
gonna think
that
I'm
box.
slow. Yeah. Or they're gonna say, oh, I'm crazy. Everything I'm saying.
They're gonna make me believe it.
Yeah, and everything I say, they're just gonna dismiss it. Like, yo, this person's crazy anyway. Like, let's just dismiss it. No offense, but that's the attitude that people give sometimes to people with mental illness. And I've seen both sides. I've seen where people are really mentally ill and they need assistance, and I've seen the other side where people, they might have a slight mental disorder, they might not have at all, but they're using the system.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you an example.
Well, I've heard of the one where they're using the system.
I started back as a specialist when I was younger, when I was a little bit younger. And it was a client that I had from when I was a specialist for 3 years. Went back to school, got a master's, became a supervisor. When I became a supervisor, after I became a director. Switched jobs 3 different times. And he ended up at the shelter that I was at. And he was like, yo, I knew this guy when he was a specialist. He's a director now. I'm still homeless. And I'm like, is it your fault or is it my fault? But he would just say, yo, half the people that's treating him, as in his ACT team, that direct access care team, where it's like a care team of individuals, social workers, nurse practitioners, psychologists, psychiatrists, all working to provide him assistance, and he don't have to pay for anything. It's based on the system. He's on Medicaid, so Medicaid, we the taxpayers pay for everything, and he's also in the shelter. He's on public assistance, food, clothing, and shelter. So he's just there. So he's working the system.
That's a benefit for him.
So now we compare it in the last 5 years. This is what I've done in the last 5 years. He's been there.
Doing the same thing.
Who's to say I don't suffer from a mental illness?
Who's to say I'm not suffering from mental illness? Who's to say anyone is? Honestly, it's everyone got their own problems in a sense of that they're dealing with. To put you in a box and kind of keeps you stuck with that problem.
I think as human beings, we are creatures of habit. I think after all these years of working with the mentally ill, I probably have
some type of mental. Well,
yeah.
Your environment. But I mean, we live in New York. And I don't know about Canada, but the people, the mentally ill, I feel are heavy down here.
Yeah,
a lot of them.
I think a lot of us are just undiagnosed. To be honest,
a lot of us don't got that insurance that gives us the counseling to be diagnosed properly.
But I think some of us, we self-medicate with drugs and alcohol.
That's why liquor stores are all our corner stores. It's rough out here. We're trying to just pretty much provide more faith medicine, There's still good people out there, still relatable people that can open their ears and listen, tell your story, That's why everyone who comes on the show usually tells their story.
What do you think about everything we just said just now? What's your honest thoughts?
Yeah, what I'm thinking is, for me, I got on a medication. I got some counseling for the first 7 years of my recovery. For me, what helped a lot was something that pretty much everyone can do, and it's for free. And it's simply reading books, going online, watching videos, podcasts, whatever. And for me, it was learning just basic sort of, for example, Navy SEALs, elite athletes, Olympic athletes, and top CEOs. They're all trying to increase their mindset, build the resilience, become more confident. And those are a lot of the books I was reading. And there's articles on all this stuff. There's so much content online. A lot of it's in libraries for free or on the internet for free. It's at your fingertips. And so you'd say, well, Matthew, shouldn't you be working on your schizophrenia? Well, I was working on the thought patterns I had and my resilience thought patterns, you can say, just that everybody has. And I was working on those for years. Did they cure my schizophrenia? I don't know. But you could say it lowered my stress levels. It gave me more confidence. It allowed me to regulate my emotions better and not get as upset about something or as anxious about something.
Kind of like you planned it. You started becoming you became a better planner in a sense.
But it sounds like you went to therapy.
Yeah, well, yeah, those are really helpful. It's all that information, and these are books written by world-class experts on the subjects. And it's just wow, I just read hundreds of books, and I learned so much on how to just think better and feel better. And yeah, they were a real help for me. And I was reading books that nothing technically weren't even written about schizophrenia. No words of schizophrenia in them, but they helped me immensely. And these are things that everybody can and improve everybody's mental health, even if you don't have a mental illness.
How you find the time for so much leisure?
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know how many years I'd be sitting in the bookstore on a Friday night or a Saturday night and, for hours reading books for free. And I'd be thinking, Matthew, you could be out with your friends having fun right now, but there's all these answers in bookstores for free. I just couldn't, there were ways to stop the pain. And that's how I found my time. I did stuff when other people were out, watching the sports game or whatever. I was trying to save my life. I was trying to get out of this world of desperation I was living in. It was, I couldn't pass that up.
Oh, that's deep. So now that you are doing better and feeling better, what are some new things that you're experiencing now that you weren't able to do before? Or what are some things you are doing now that you weren't able to do before?
I've got full, complete thoughts. I've got peace and contentment. I get to, it's sort of like when I was sick, everything was sort of on tumble dry, sort of like just chaotic, sort of visually. I associated with people with autism when things were too bright or too loud. Things are just calm now, and it's just nice to be in a safe place. My body's a safe place now. I don't have to. It's just really, it's nice. I get to enjoy life. I get to look at sunsets and appreciate them instead of having to force myself to look at a painful sunset.
That's what I used to think of sunsets. Wow.
Yeah, and one of the things I'm happy about is, I got an engineering degree. Yeah, I biked across Canada and I did stuff like that. But in another way, I was drifting in my life. Yes, schizophrenia gives you a lot of focus, but it was focus I'd rather not have to do. But what I'm doing now, the last 4 years, is advocacy work, sort of what you guys are doing, and it's just given me focus in my life. It's given me more purpose. But
I have a question, right? My main question is, what would make you want to work with depressed people in Africa, out of all places?
So when I was first diagnosed, a lady saw me and she said I looked like I was walking through a world of fine glass. It felt like I was living in a war zone. And my heart went out to people who live in actual war zones or live in extreme poverty and untreated mental illness. I'm like, I could barely get through it in a sleepy part of Canada with an okay mental health care system. And
I thought healthcare is free in Canada. It's free, right?
Yeah, I thought so too.
It's free, but you come up here and you'll hear people talking about our mental health care system. It needs improvement. There's long wait times. People are killing themselves because they can't see the psychiatrist in time.
How long it takes?
What?
Oh yeah.
How long does it take?
Oh, months. I mean, it's ridiculous.
That's too long of a wait.
So let me ask you a question, right? In America, we got something called ZocDoc, where you literally go on the internet and you could schedule to see a doctor tomorrow, as long as you have insurance. If you don't have insurance, you pay cash. I'm sure you guys have something like that in Canada.
They have apps and so on.
Yeah, they have that in Canada. Come on, man. Really? And then we have emergency lines now here, where NYC Wells, there's a state-funded mental health emergency hotline that you can call, and there's a suicide prevention hotline. They made a whole song about it.
But isn't Canada peaceful?
Yeah. But I'm sure if we have it in America, they have it in Canada. You guys don't have those things in Canada?
Yeah, we've got hotlines, we've got psychiatrists and psychiatric wards and counseling.
Yeah.
And it's I'll say this: a part of Canada in Nova Scotia on the East Coast, there's a man, his name's Todd Leader, like leadership, and he's got a book called "It's Not About Us," and he radically transformed his mental health and addiction system in his area of Nova Scotia. And he got wait times from like 5 to 8 months down to 3 weeks or a week or less. And the way he did it was by making it client-centered, not bureaucracy or paperwork-centered. When someone comes into a clinic, how many seconds or minutes or hours does it take to get that person treatment? When someone walks in, you walk over to them immediately and say, how can I help you? You don't put them in a waiting room for an hour filling out forms when they need help immediately. Things like that. He did tons of things like that.
That is a different feel.
And now,
But they gotta fill out the forms regardless, because that's how everybody gets paid.
But I guess what he's saying is like they kind of feel like they're gonna get the help they're gonna need. A lot of people, I guess in Brooklyn especially, go to the hospital and they yelling and screaming because they want their treatment. And they know it's gonna take so long. And he's saying that they created the atmosphere where you walked in and you felt like somebody was gonna come and help you quickly.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
yeah, so his book is called It's Not About Us, because so many people said the system isn't about us. And he teaches the rest of
That's how we feel, yeah, we can relate.
yeah. And his book teaches the rest of Canada how to do the same thing. He's already done it. You go to that part of Nova Scotia, they've got a great mental health and addiction system because of him. And I'm going to say that same, I'm no expert, but I'm assuming that his book could be used in other countries like the US and Europe or wherever, and by making it client-centered, not bureaucracy-centered. So I'm really trying to promote his book, Todd the Leader, It's Not About Us. It's
Was he schizophrenic?
No, he's had mental illness before in his life. I forget which kind it was, but no, not schizophrenia. Yeah.
Make sure to promote the real word also, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, yep. I got you, buddy.
Okay.
So how have you enjoyed the show so far?
Awesome. Love it. This is so much fun, you guys.
Well, it was a good episode. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I learned a lot.
Okay, so what work do you exactly do with the depressed people in Africa?
Yeah, so like I said, I'm no expert. The only official certification I have is an engineering degree, and I'm not even using it. I've got lived experience with mental illness, and I've read a lot of books on how to get through it. What I do is, my website, mindaid.ca, is the only website of its kind in the world. It has all the groups working on mental health in developing countries all on one site. As far as I know, there's no other site like it in the world. And I want to promote it more. So I don't do the actual work myself. I found 10 nonprofits that are using basic mental health care models in developing countries. I'm trying to promote them. I'm more of a promoter for them, more than like in the field, on the ground, doing the hands-on work. And yes, someday I wouldn't mind going to Africa and seeing what's going on and helping in some capacity. If I have the strength and mental health confidence to do that someday, I'd like to. Right now, I don't know if I'm quite there yet in my confidence and strength levels, but I'm trying to promote the work of these groups. They've been helping thousands of people get their mental health back. Some of the groups don't even use medications. Fine Mind doesn't use medications. Strong Minds, like the one I mentioned, Strong Minds America. The Strong Minds they work in Africa, specifically right now Uganda and Zambia. They're helping.
I'm gonna look into Strong Minds.
So what do you benefit off of this? Like just
right
from
now,
people,
nothing.
just from people coming on your website?
Nothing. I don't accept any money on my website to give to mental health in developing countries. I steer people directly towards their websites to donate on them. Maybe someday I'll be able, and I'm working on that, to accept money on my site to give to those nonprofits themselves. People can donate to me just to pay my own expenses so that I can work on this full time, which I want to do, instead of having to get a regular job. But right now, if somebody can do better, faster work than me to get people mental health care in developing countries, go for it. I just want to see them get help. For me, I want to keep working on this, and if Mind Aid could be a household name like UNICEF, that would be amazing. that's one of the things I'm wanting people to do is simply share Mind Aid, get more people knowing about this so that for those who have the money to help, can help. I think if millions of people knew where to go, where to help someone with depression in Uganda or other developing countries, millions of people would want to help if they simply knew about it and knew where to go. My website's also, and I'm just hoping people share it. I really am, because
To be honest with you, I don't think, to be honest with you, I don't think they should bring psychotropic drugs into Africa. That's just my personal opinion. I think they've been fine without it this whole time.
More spiritual.
I think they're good, bro. I mean, if anything, I believe Africans should have a say in what they feel like their people need mentally.
100%.
Yeah, a lot of these groups, they're making it locals led. They don't want to be the white people coming in and telling everybody what to do. They want the people to want it. They're asking like, what do you want?
But who owns it?
Pardon me?
Who owns them? Like, who started them?
So,
Are they African people too?
Strong Minds was started by Sean Mayberry. He's white. He's in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And Pavel Repo was founded by, Fine Mind was founded by Pavel Repo. Neither of them use medications. Strong Minds doesn't use medications, Fine Mind doesn't.
So what's their interest in Africa?
Scientific.
You're promoting them. You told me you're the promoter, man. You gotta make sure you know what you're promoting, bro.
We more about faith, you know.
You understand what I'm saying? If I don't support something, I'm not gonna promote it. And if I'm promoting something, I have to know what it is. Because, all right, perfect example, right? I'm a brand promoter. Because we have the show and because I have big platforms, brands come to me and ask me if I want to promote certain stuff.
Waiting for the black hoodies. He knows I'm waiting for the black hoodies.
Facts. But I'm not gonna promote just anything. You're not gonna see me on TV promoting Backwoods and Heineken's. You understand?
We're more spiritual, man.
Something has to align with your beliefs and with and with you as a person and what you believe in order for you to support it. And you have to know the fine details because you're speaking on their behalf. Like, I just want to know why they're going to Africa. Only because I would say we founded a 501c3 nonprofit as well, right? And we're boots on the ground. Like, you've seen our work because you spoke about it earlier on. And, the way we wanted to make it different is majority of these big companies, majority of the funds and donations, it goes to admin costs. It goes to paying the people that work for it. That's why you see they don't really help a lot of people. They don't really do much. You understand? And then when you are putting the money out or you trying to help the people directly, you don't really see people get donations. Like, even on the website where I found you, I put it $100 for an hour, $50 for 30 minutes, and $25 for 15 minutes. That's a small donation that's gonna help the nonprofit, and everyone could see the work that we're doing. As soon as I put it up, people say, no, I'm good. Even though they have the money, it's just like they're like, you know what, F you guys. Like, we don't want to put your money on.
We don't want to help them that way.
And some guy said, oh, why would I pay you? You should pay me. I'm like, you should pay me. Like, you asked me to come on. I'm like,
I remember that guy.
And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Even the plastic surgeon. This guy was a plastic surgeon for 40-something years in California. Mm-hmm. Everybody paid him cash. We asked him to donate. He said, no, I can't.
Funds like that.
But buy my book.
The second one.
So this the stuff we deal with, man.
So yeah, it's more so it's hard to relate to the issues in that way that you go about it. We don't really go whatever.
As in, we dealt with the same issues just from our point of view in life.
Yeah.
It was very different.
Yeah. Well, for me, I'm no expert. I'm not a charity rating agency. I'm taking a chance on this too. It's the groups that I've found, I feel okay promoting them, but at the same time, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, what if something goes wrong? What if they're not doing great work?
Yeah.
I'm not an evaluator, an official person doing this. I could be making mistakes.
You got good intentions, though. You got good intentions.
I'm trying. Right now, it's just me and a website and social media. I don't have people working for me. It's I'm trying the best I can. If one of these nonprofits flounders or does bad work, how's that going to make me feel? And as time goes on, I'm hoping to get better at this. I'm also hoping more people will want to help out and people who have more expertise than me, people who can rate these agencies better and say, how the work they're doing.
You got good thoughts.
Yeah. At the same time, though, some of these groups have big names behind them. For example, like Fine Mind, he has Forrest Whitaker's, the actor from Star Wars, his foundation helping him. Strong Minds, they had the actress Ashley Judd narrate one of their promo videos.
Popular people.
Robin Williams' son, Zach Williams, he's helping promote #BreakTheChains, as is Tim Shriver, founder of the Special Olympics. Allison Janney, the actress from the TV show The West Wing.
But that's influencers. They're influencing you to join a certain cause.
Yeah, so Bill Clinton and the band Arcade Fire, they promote Partners in Health. So it's
I don't think Bill Clinton would be good. Bill Clinton's organization, the Clinton organization, they came into my country. I'm Haitian, and come on, we all know what they did to Haiti, and they gave us that plastic Chinese rice, and then they took the $300 million the Red Cross and all them gave, and they only made like 10 houses, and the rest of the people are still in tents. Till this day, the people are still living in tents. You see Puerto Rico, and we supposed to trust these companies? Like, come on, man. But then companies with people that look like us, that's trying to help people like us, we don't get no money.
We don't get
it's crazy.
I don't know.
I don't know
either.
Closing thoughts?
I want to just thanks for having me on, guys. It's I'm fumbling in the dark sometimes on this, and I'm just wanting to start conversations about this. If I can do things better, I'm open for advice. I know I can't do things perfectly. No one ever can, and
we all try.
Yeah. If you guys have any advice, I'm all ears, because I'm like I said, I'm no expert. I'm trying to make a little dent in the universe here. I'm hoping it can have more impact as time goes on, but I want to get better at this. It's because I know people are suffering and want help, and I'm trying.
You're trying to help. We appreciate you coming on the show, man. I do, at least. I can.
Yeah, I can say it too. I would say like what Jesus did, meet their first basic needs at first. Food, clothing, and shelter. A lot of us, we don't have that. So,
we're starting with the basic needs. Yeah.
It's like what we started talking about before. A lot of the homeless population are mentally ill, but it comes in together. Most people that are mentally ill are unable to function, and therefore they end up homeless or unable to keep a job, and then they ended up drug addicted. And most people that are drug addicted can't hold a job, so they end up homeless. And then
it's the same cycle. It's a cycle. And then they're also having kids. So,
yeah, and then the kids suffer from the same trauma.
Yeah, it just continues.
And we all seen it, when they walk with the kids, hurry the F up, come over here, I'll smack you.
And that makes the entire neighborhood feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. And then you hear about kids having sex since they was 11, 12, 10 years old. And they've been smoking since they were 9, 8 years old. This is real stuff, you understand? Of course you're going to grow up and be mentally ill, experiencing all these things.
And then you have to you kind of got to separate yourself, become like what he, in the sense of what Matthew was, antisocial in a sense.
Yeah.
You don't want to really be a part of people, because what you grew up around was so negative. It was like, if this is what people's like, I'm going to just stay to myself.
Going to the books, an alternate reality.
And 100% sure is, if you want to grow, you need a team of people. You cannot do it by yourself.
Fine sheets of glass could have been the sheets of paper.
Mm-hmm. So I think you're doing the right. I think add some faith to your system.
Belief in something bigger than himself.
Yeah.
But that's only if he wants that.
Well, that's just my closing
With
thoughts.
faith also comes accountability.
You gotta keep up with it.
No, you gotta hold yourself accountable. You have to atone for your sins almost. It's almost like you gotta repent. You gotta admit that the things is bad and want to change.
True.
The things I want to do, I don't, and the things I shouldn't do, I do.
Well, I say, My closing thoughts is face your fears. That's what I got out of this. Face your fears, you know.
Sorry for putting you under the hot seat, Matthew.
No.
We put pressure on you.
He handled it well, man. He handled it well.
He's like, I gotta talk for
He had his composure, man. He represented Canada well, you know. It's like, oh, this is New Yorkers for you. New Yorkers get personal.
You're like, what did I step myself into?
We thought you weren't gonna come back there in the break. We thought you was like, oh man, this guy got too personal. I'm not doing this again.
Like these assholes.
I was like, you know, that honestly, when we was at Times Square, when the guy grabbed the phone, I'm like, see, that's some New York out there. Like, why you grabbing somebody's phone? Like,
No, like, give me the.
you think we get too personal?
No worries.
Yeah, right.
Before I forget, one of the 10 nonprofits is Christian-based, just so you know, CBM UK. They've been around for like 100 years, and they do mental health care work.
Maybe we could collab with them. Maybe we'll look for them.
Wait, UK, so then the United Kingdom then?
Well, they're based in the United Kingdom, but they work in developing countries too. So yeah.
Maybe. We'll see.
Okay. So let's close out with a prayer like we always do. Dear Heavenly Father, that does help me. Thank you for this moment in time. We thank you for this opportunity to be here together as one. Lord, as we continue to move forward, we ask that you bless us, bless our ministry, bless the work that we're doing, bless our brother Matthew that came on this platform all the way out from Canada, bless his family, bless his works. Thank you, God, for all the healing and reparations that you've done within him. I ask that you continue to work on him, continue to work on his heart, his soul, his mind, Lord, his family as well, all those that surround him. Bless myself, bless my partner, Kimmel as well. Bless him and everything that he's doing. Bless his family, bless his house, Lord, and bless us all. Bless all our families. Help us to continue to walk in your light and your spirit. Order our steps, Lord. Name Yahshua the Son. Praise to the Holy Father. Amen.
Amen. Bless you too, my brother.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's been.
Bless you too, man. You can't really see it. What you know? Alright, man.
Oh, man.
We gotta do this again.
Alrighty.
Alright, man. Deuces.
Stay safe.
Take care.
See you later.
Alright.
Wow. Safe to say.
That was a real word. We thank you all for watching. Shout out to everybody been supporting. Shout out to everybody that's helped us to get this far, thus far. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, Soundcloud, Pandora, and the Brick Network. You already know. Award show coming up soon.
I want to say that, you know, it ain't that bad.
It be like that sometimes.
We could talk.
It's the real world.